Vroom, vroom, fast, zoom, we go. Nessa, what's your dream car?
Oh, my dream car is really boring. I don't have an exciting answer for this.
Prius.
I want like a little Audi A4 convertible.
That's fine. Audis are nice. I like it.
All-wheel drive, zippy.
Okay. So I do, because of this movie, I'll be honest, the when they were in Edinburgh, Edinburgh,
the place.
Is that the one? No, wait, hold on. Is that, what's the scene where Dom was with Helen Mirren? Whatever car.
Probably that was probably
that one.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Because I want that NSX that they drove, the car that they drove in that one's like my new one. But I've always been a fan of I've been a huge fan of the new Supra. So that's my dream car right now. Is actually the brand new Supra, which
is that what Han
conveniently
drives?
The one that Han drives in this. I'm happy that my boy Han, he's got taste. That's how you know. That's how you know Han's the OG. Is he's got good taste. So, that's mine. But we're back. Nessa's back. She's here finally again. She's not abandoned us this week. We'll find out next week. How you doing? What's the crazy life? How's it been treating you?
I haven't done anything too exciting. I reset up VR, so I've been playing a lot of Beat Saber. That's like my main life update. That my arms are really sore.
Too much Beat Saber. Got it.
Such
Good
a
workout.
fun game. I have to set a timer for myself so that I stop playing after a certain amount of time. So I'm like, okay, like 45 minutes, and then I need to step away. I have to.
Yeah, the I can't do timers and stuff. They don't work for me. I just ignore them. Anyways, even if they go off, I'm like, nah, I'll just do one more. And then, of course, that one more turns into, like, 18 more. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, welcome back to Positively Reviewed. We're back again. This week, we are talking about... It's episode... What episode are we on? I always listen to other podcast people, and they do the same thing. They're like, we're on episode 13. I think we are on episode 13. But... people just, they never know what episode they're on. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. You did one last week, okay? It hasn't been that long. You know what number you're on. But now that we are actually doing it, I also have absolutely no clue. They all just merge together as one. So I think it's 13.
We are on 13. I just went and counted.
All right, perfect. I think I'll update the titles so that they actually have the number in it, so that it'll be easier to track. I do have them labeled by like a season 1 and episode count. So I think it does come up in order on like Apple Podcasts, but I think everywhere else it doesn't. So, alrighty. Well, what do we do, Nessa? It's been a while. Let's see. Do you still have what it takes to tell us what we do here?
Do I have what it takes to do the sellout pitch at the beginning of the podcast? Welcome to the Positively Reviewed podcast. Pause Reviewed Pod if you're looking for any social media. POS Reviewed POD. And this is where we are the most accurate, absolutely the most accurate reviewers of any kind of media, because we give you all of our positive takeaways, all the great things. If you're going to guess from that, we are probably not the most accurate thing you're going to listen to, but if you want some good vibes and to hear stuff we loved from different things, this is the right place to be. But if you don't like spoilers, and if you want to wait to share the good vibes until after you've seen it yourself, there's just a warning that there's going to be a lot of spoilers because we're talking about the cool stuff that happens. And
yeah.
In order to do
Especially
that,
with this one, because it's been a long enough time. We usually try and go for light spoilers, but my rule is that like after a month, if you haven't watched a movie or a TV show after a month of it coming out, I'm sorry, if you weren't able to make it like in 30 days of hours, you weren't able to make it to the theater. I understand right now it's maybe a little bit different, but you didn't watch it at home or anything like that, you didn't want to watch it that badly that you shouldn't care. Like you don't care that much about spoilers. Let's be real, right? Like I'm the person that if I want to watch something enough, if I want to watch something kind of a bit, I go see it the day that it releases. So when there's something I really want to watch and I don't want spoiled for me, which isn't a lot of things, I'm watching it as soon as possible. So this has been out for over a month now. If you haven't seen it, that's too bad.
Yeah.
You clearly don't care that much.
Or you can pause the podcast and come back to it later. And the way to do that, to know when and where our episodes and everything is, no matter where you're watching right now, whether you're catching us when we stream the recording live or you're listening later on, Pause Reviewed Pod, POS Reviewed POD is the social media accounts. And then, of course, it's the Positively Reviewed podcast that you're going to find on Podbean, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all those wonderful sites to make it super easy for you to find. We're here to help.
Fantastic. And you could always just listen to this podcast and decide, you know what, I do want to watch the movie because they talk so positively about it.
That's true. So
then you go watch the movie and then you listen to the podcast again. Now with more perspective. So you can always do that too.
Very true. All right, but what are we talking about this week, Joker? Why are we
We're talking about the Fast 9, created by Universal Pictures and directed by Justin Lin for the first time in a little while. And it's the greatest piece of content I've probably ever watched in my life.
Ever created.
Until next week.
Yeah. Greatest piece of content ever created.
Greatest piece. Media, movie, ever. You know what? Better than anything. Till next week.
Do you remember the first Fast and the Furious movie that you watched? Was it the first one?
No. The first one I watched was... you know what? I'm pretty sure it wasn't the first one.
Mm-hmm.
If there was anyone I watched first, the one that I remember watching first was the fourth one.
Wow.
Technically, which is the whole Mexican border drug trade going on where they had Gal Gadot and all that jazz. But there's a good chance I probably watched the second one first, potentially. I don't know.
So I know I watched the second one first, and I watched the second one a lot. For some reason, we had the second one, but we didn't have the first one. And so I watched it a lot, and then I watched the first one a couple of times, and then it was a several-year gap, and then I went back to watch the second one again, and I went, wait a second, that's not Vin Diesel. And I got really confused about what was happening. And
that's Tyrese Gibson. I didn't realize they changed the color of his skin.
That is the summary of my experience with the Fast and the Furious movies, is that I can't remember what happens in each of them. I remember them as this like amorphous blob of story. And
I got you.
Tokyo Drift is the only one I can separate out what happened.
Tokyo Drift is one of those that a lot of people haven't watched, and it's probably one of the best ones. But
other
also,
than this
it's a gem of a movie.
It is the best one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So we're both big fans of the series. This is probably one of my favorite sagas or franchises of movies in the world. I know I watch these on a yearly basis, and I'm dying. My dream is to have a giant fast watch. When the last few, there's two more. We got two more coming out. We got number 10, which number 10 is supposed to be the last one, but they're going the Hobbit route or the Harry Potter route or whatever it is. Where no, they're going hey, we're breaking up the final installment into two parts. So they're gonna have actually two movies, but it's supposedly just one storyline or whatever. Who knows? They're going the Infinity War route. But my dream is to one day have a giant watch party where people can kind of just come and go as they please, but it's just watching every single Fast movie in a single day with a bunch of people. And at that point, it'll be like 24 hours of straight Fast. It'll be fantastic, but that's my dream one day. It's my goal. It's on my bucket list.
That does sound pretty good.
I do watch these movies yearly at this point.
I am considering buying the box set so that I can more easily watch them, because I've watched through.
Yeah.
I think I've watched through the whole series twice. And when Fast and the Furious 7 came out, I think it was 7, maybe it was 8. Triple X 3 also came out at the same time. And I saw them like 2 days apart. And they're both Vin Diesel movies. And they're both criminals turned U.S. agents, international. And they're both dealing with satellite spy tech. And the only difference is that one of them has cars in Antarctica. And one of them doesn't. And I cannot separate the two movies in my head. Like, they're the same movie. And so I will go and I will rewatch Triple X, and I will rewatch all the Fast and Furious movies, and I will try and say, and I still can't. Because it does feel like the Fast and the Furious movies have become just like Triple X with cars.
Oh, that's what they are. They're just ridiculous. I love it. They just keep topping themselves. I mean, it's Mission Impossible, but Mission Impossible does it well. Is the best way.
Hey, and I would say this one. Great.
This one. Oh no! Don't get me wrong. This one does it well, but this does it to the most unrealistic level of ridiculousness. Whereas, like, Mission Impossible, they definitely do quite a bit of ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, the face swapping.
They make it seem plausible, but this movie has slowly moved from plausible to, nah, man, there's no way. And it's great.
Yeah, I mean, Fast and the Furious is about, like, how big can we go? And I ought to be honest, like, the stuff they pulled in this one that we'll get into with the eventual way they handle the satellite was just, like, the best ever. Like, I don't understand what they're going to do in 10/11 in heavy quotes to top it. Oh, that's true.
Time travel.
Got
it. People were joking about them going to space because that's what all movies run out of stuff to do. So they always go with time travel, alternate universe, in space.
So they're going to slingshot a car fast enough. No, this is what they're going to do. They're going to do something that, like, changes the inertia or the rotation of the Earth. And they're going to, like, slingshot change the way the Earth is spinning to do something. That's obviously the next step.
Exactly. It's going to be they're going to send Vin Diesel back, and then they're going to have it, you know, something, everyone is gonna die in the finale, and so Vin Diesel is gonna have to escape away, and he's like, my family, and then he drives fast enough, like you said, slingshots around Earth, time travels back, and all of a sudden, you know, he that's where he finds Paul Walker alive, it turns out, and he tells him that he can't do what he's going to do. He can't stop them, and that he needs to move on. And then it never happens. And then Dom just stays as a robbing giant trucks full of TVs.
Got it. Yeah,
for a living.
Yeah. So
Paul Walker stays an FBI agent.
Yeah. So
that'll be the life they live.
For everyone listening, if you haven't picked up Fast 9, the Furious Saga, or whatever, the Fast
F9.
Saga. F9, the Fast Saga. Certainly has a lot of action. And I'm excited to get to the fact section. But, Joker, do you have any news, you know, that we want to put in?
I got one question. I do. I got to stop this. What is, besides this one, of course, because we both know this is the best one.
Best one.
What's your favorite Fast movie?
So I was trying to decide whether it's the first one or whether it's Tokyo Drift. And I think it's the first one. Because, I mean, Brian's great, and, like, the interaction with Dom is good, and it is just about driving, and like,
just about racing. It's about racing for pink slips.
It's just about racing, and I don't know, like, the scene with Jesse always sticks in my head, and the first 3 for sure are my favorites, and I think it's the first one. Because I like Vin Diesel better. But, like, Tokyo Drift as a movie, I think it's better.
Right. Tokyo Drift is good. I'm happy they brought back some of the characters and stuff and actually connected it a lot. I love that they kill off the best character that they created and then they bring him back for like 8 other movies. That they bring him back to life and then they kill him again and then they bring him back to life. It's great. This series is amazing. This is the original extended, the original cinematic universe. Let's be real.
Yeah. Marvel has nothing on the Fast universe.
Exactly. This movie, Fast, is one of the movies, and I think Mission Impossible is another one that did really well. That was able to evolve successfully, right? Like a lot of movies, what they do, like, to be honest, I don't think they could have made 10 Fast movies of just driving for pink slips. I don't know they could have gotten away with that. And so it's slowly turned into heist movies, and now it's turned into spy movies, right? And they've done a really good job of evolving it. And I'm a sucker for heist movies and spy movies. I gotta commend them on it. Because the first movie compared to the latest movie, 100% different genre altogether. It's still got fast cars and family, though. So, I will say, I think my favorite is, I think what a lot of people's favorite is that, it's that Fast 5.
You're gonna have to tell me which one that is because I can't.
It's the one with the safe. It's the one where they finally bring everyone together for a job, and that's where they were in Rio and they were heisting the safe and they're driving the safe around behind them.
Oh, vague memories.
Yeah.
The one that's really sticking to my head, which I think is the 7th one that I get confused with Triple X, is I think they're in Dubai and they drive the car off the really tall building and like land on the other building. And they break a lot of glass. They're like building hopping driving.
Is the 6th one.
6th one.
I believe. Yes. I gotta, like, I know them. I could separate them out. I gotta just remember because the 5th one is where they bring in Han and Gal Gadot, right? Gal Gadot comes out in the 4th one, and that's with the Mexican drug trade. The 5th one is, here's the whole history of Fast, by the way. The 5th one, other than the first 3, 5th one was they're heisting in Rio, and that's when The Rock comes into play. Then the 6th one is when Deckard Shaw, and it turns out Letty is still alive, and that's the one I think they're heisting. They have the Dubai car. Is that one? Yes. I think it's that one.
6 is the last one that happens before, timeline-wise, Tokyo Drift.
Right, yeah. And because they bring in... No, now they bring in the other Shaw. Is this one Deckard Shaw? No.
So at the end of Fast and the Furious 6... They bring in Jason Statham. Yes, Jason Statham shows up and kills Han.
Well, no, they don't kill him. We think they kill him, of course. But... yeah, so that one is Jason Statham shows up. So the 7th one is Jason Statham, and that's the one with the ending on top of the parking structure, and they're flying against a drone or something, right? A drone. And then the 8th one is with Charlize Theron on the ice.
Yes.
And now we have this one, the 9th one, with John Cena. So.
Yeah.
That's the full history of Fast 9. Now you know. But yeah, the 6th one is the Dubai driving. Yeah. I gotta throw out. Well, actually, you know what? I'll save it. We'll wait till we get to the meaty meat. Yeah, let's talk about news. Is there any news for you? I will say I got life stuff. Sadly, that job I was trying to go for has already rejected me without an interview. It's been a good experience. Don't worry, I'm fine. I don't hate everything right now.
We totally believe you. 100%.
Actually, that'll be for the other filler section. So those are the teasers. You want to know what Joker's, the other, you know what? That's what we're going to do. The other random filler section is actually what have we been watching that's outside of the stuff that we talk about. Because I don't know if you've been watching things, but that's what we'll do. You know what? That's the new thing.
Got it. Yeah.
But this one, Spider-Man. That's why I want to mention. They got the new Spider-Man trailer. That's the big news. we had two kind of news where I got 3 top things.
Mm-hmm.
I'll quickly go through some of them before we get to Spider-Man because I have a bit to say. Halo Infinite had a new update. They have come out and said that co-op campaign and Forge will no longer be in Halo Infinite on launch.
Mm-hmm.
This personally does not affect me because I haven't played. I mean, I was planning on doing co-op with some friends. But this would have been the first time since like Halo 3 since I've done that. So it wasn't a normal thing. So it sucks. But then Forge, I'm not really much of a forger, but I think it's a very big deal for a lot of the community. There's a lot of people who don't play Halo unless they're doing co-op. There's also a lot of like competitive esports stuff. Maps and creators make stuff in Forge to make competitive maps that are typically used for competitive play. And so now that's all postponed for now 3 to 6 months. So kind of a big hit. Sucks for sure, but is what it is. I have a whole lot I could talk about that, but that's not what this podcast is about. So do that another time. The other thing is Gamescom just happened today, literally a few hours ago. I did not personally watch it. They had an Xbox showcase. I guess it sounded like the highlight was the Destiny, the new showcase for their big expansion coming out, which is the Witch Queen. Mm. Cool. I'm trying not to get. I'm gonna get roped back into the game. I think after this recording, I'm gonna go play that game actually because they just had a new update for season 15, and now they have crossplay and a bunch of other features. But there was no Halo Infinite shown, but there's still a few days, so we might still get some Infinite. I don't know what else they showed. I know it was really just kind of showing off, like, I guess some Xbox stuff, and I don't know. We'll have to see. I have to go watch it and catch up. So go check that out if you haven't. And then the new Spider-Man trailer if you haven't watched. That's I think the big news. How you feeling about the new Spider-Man?
I haven't watched the trailer. I don't like trailers. I don't like to watch trailers.
You don't like Marvel anyways. I'm still hurting after that. After what you said. I tried to get over it. I tried. Just can't. I got people in super suits and throwing cars at people. I don't know what you don't like.
I liked Black Widow quite a bit. Thank you.
It's fine. Whatever.
Fine. So trailers can be good. Like the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer was great, very funny, and I hadn't actually seen the first Venom, so I went and watched the first Venom. So like the trailer got me to go watch the first Venom. Super worth it.
Did you like the first Venom?
It was great.
You did.
It was great.
Okay, I'm starting to narrow down more because we haven't, we haven't ever really like watched things together or whatnot. So I've been trying to like slowly figure out what your genre is. I think I'm starting to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I'm getting there.
It's real straightforward. It's lighthearted, lots of explosions.
I liked Venom. I think they said it's got a good cult following, and it's not really a cult. I wouldn't call it a classic, but I think a lot of people did like it enough that we're getting a second one. Yeah, and I know it did pretty well internationally. Was a big thing.
Yeah,
so.
It was great. Big fan. But I like some Marvel. I just, as a general, think I dislike a lot of the stuff that people really like. I just have the flipped Marvel opinion.
As she said, she hates Marvel. And in unrelated news, it turns out that this is the last episode that Nessa will be hosting. So, anyways.
But I haven't watched
unrelated
the Spider-Man trailer. Although I sent it to a friend who loves Marvel and loves Spider-Man, and he told me like a million different things, just like word vomited everything. So I feel like I've watched it anyway, so I probably should just watch it. He was really excited. So no, I haven't looked at it yet.
Sick has confirmed that F7 is where they jump building to building. So you were right. You were correct. You were. I was wrong. Maybe I don't know them all that well. I'll get into that later on. But, Spider-Man trailer came out. If you heard me talk about it before, I've been worried about the direction that Marvel is going in. I still am to a degree, because I don't think they're going a bad direction. I think it's a direction that is going to turn a lot of people off. Not me. It's just one of those that I think Marvel's not going to see the success, not just Spider-Man, but Marvel in general. Not the success. And I had talked about this is a Marvel podcast. Maybe I should do a Marvel podcast so I could just talk about it. But, I've talked about that. I've been worried about this series. I was significantly worried about this movie in particular because of a lot of the circumstances of how this was built. I mean, the last one came out 2.5 years ago. Very few movies, come out in like 2.5. Well, no, that's a lie. I guess a lot of movies and sequels come out 2.5 years, but 2.5 years, pretty soon after the latest one, compared to a lot of other Marvel properties and stuff like that. And I guess this is technically a Sony property. But then they also had the pandemic. We just spent the last year in quarantine, yet this was still coming out this year, which it is. December 17th is the release date. And everything just felt rushed. And then they were like, you know what? We saw the success of Into the Spider-Verse. Let's just do that, but live action. And immediately I was like, everything about this just sounds rushed. I don't know. I was curious who they were going to put in. So Doctor Strange is going to be the other character in this that's focused on. Because that was a whole part of the cooperation between Marvel and Sony. Because they've had secret wars going on. I can go into a whole history. There's a whole deep dive history between the rivalry of Sony and Marvel. And, well, technically Marvel and every other Marvel property that they sold back in like the 80s. Because that's what these other companies have had, Spider-Man and Deadpool. And they had it all until, Marvel bought up Fox and then, history she wrote. It's so there's a secret war, but they finally kind of started to work together. And but the ruling for Spider-Man is that in order for them to get Marvel to get Spider-Man for Avenger films, they have to use one Avenger in his solo film. So they pretty much is just their way of Sony getting another big name actor to entice people to also go see the movie. First one was Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man. Second one was Nick Fury. And this third one looks like it's Doctor Strange. So Benedict Cumberbatch. So
and he's one of my favorites, so this excites me.
He's great. Yeah, it's fun. It looks good. I guess just watch it. I have changed my mind. I'm still slightly worried for it. There's still like that itch in the back of my throat that's still like, I'm still not sure. But this did look to really quell a lot of the worry and fear I had for this movie. So I'm really excited about this Spider-Man. Because they're doing some comic booky things. Quick deep dive into one thing. One of the most hated Spider-Man comic of all time that has been retconned and everything. Because it was initially, it's canon, but everyone just acts like it doesn't exist. There's a whole thing after Civil War. So in the Marvel universe, Civil War happens and they have the whole superhero enlistment act where in order to be a part of that, you have to reveal your identity. So everyone must know your identity. Spider-Man chooses to reveal his identity. So he sides with Tony Stark like he does in the cinematic universe. And this ends up causing a lot of things. And Aunt May ends up getting killed by Bullseye as a consequence. And this is a point where Peter is married to Mary Jane and has a kid on the way. He then proceeds to make a deal with Mephisto, the devil, to erase everyone's minds that he's Spider-Man. But in order to do so, he has to give up his marriage and his unborn child. And people were like, that's super messed up. And that's not at all what Spider-Man should be like. So people just retcon that. But they're kind of doing this in a lot more of a chill way, where they're doing the same thing that everyone's mind is going to get erased, including Mary Jane. So, and it's with Doctor Strange instead of Mephisto. But they got a little bit of Spider-Man stuff in there, comic-y stuff in there. Good. But that's the news. That's our news for thought.
Nice. Are we ready for
Let's get into the facts section? Yeah, might as well. How far are we into this? Oh, only 35 minutes. Fantastic. Oh, that's actually only 20 minutes. We had like 10 minutes of nothing. We're good. We're on pace. We're on pace. I worry about the time. I don't know. Do you ever worry about how fast we go?
We started 8 minutes in to my recording, so we are 30 minutes in.
That's fine.
But that's your time update.
I will talk less during the facts section. This is your moment. We changed up the facts to be a little bit more. Jon is attempting humor, so know that this is all my words and not Nessa's. Mm-hmm. They're all terrible jokes, but I'll work on that my funny bone, and we'll get there.
I haven't read them yet. I'm assuming I'm about to make a lot of dad jokes, so I've accepted it. Okay, so the facts section. Fact number 1, the money spent. All right, so the budget.
That's his favorite fact.
Yeah, the budget was $225 million, and it made $669.9 million, which is a 33.91 trillion baht in the box office. In the beautiful country of Thailand, you could raise about 15,278 children, which apparently is probably like half the country.
I have no idea what the population of Thailand is, but that's a lot of children.
Yeah, those are a lot of children. I'm very curious.
That's the most we've ever had.
Yeah, I'm very curious how many children there currently are in Thailand.
So good, look it up. They'll let us know.
Yeah. Okay.
There is So yeah, I did. The reason I chose Thailand is that this was the first scene when they were in the going to go save Mr. Nobody in his crash plane. They had. It takes place in a fictional country called Monte Quinto, and it's supposedly in Central America or South America. And there is a place called Monte Quinto, I found out, in Spain. There's a city, so it is technically a real place, but this was actually shot in Thailand. So even though it was in Central America, they shot it in Thailand. So there you go. And that's where that 33 trillion baht.
Got it.
That's how much money. That's from Thailand baht. That's their currency there. So.
There are currently 17.9 million children under the age of 18 in Thailand.
How many?
17.9 million.
Yeah, it's about half of them.
Yeah, about half. Accurate. Alrighty, so instead, if you didn't want to raise approximately 15,000 children with the revenue made from F9, you could start a dairy farm. You could get 5,000 times that many cows. You'd make way more money off of them than the leeches we know as children.
That's it. He's left it at that. Those children aren't making you money.
They
Dairy
could,
cows, though, on the other hand.
Eventually. What if you mix it? You gotta mix it, right? Because, like, if you buy that many cows, you eventually need someone to take over. Gotta have at least a few children.
Oh, so you
raise some children.
Instead of raising 15,000 new lives, you only raise 7,000 new lives and instead raise the lives of cows.
You get a lot of cows. You also contribute to like a lot of children being raised, and then you have like an entire dairy city created.
Control the dairy market.
Yes, because you've like got all these families and you're paying to raise their kids, and you have an obscene amount of cows. So you're set.
Perfect.
Got it.
Well, sounds like a foolproof plan to make you even more money.
Yeah. So I'm glad
monopolize the dairy market in Thailand.
Yeah. Instead of making Fast and the Furious 10. That could be.
Can you raise cows in Thailand? Is Thailand a good place to raise cows?
I am not the right person to ask. Okay, rapid fire fact section. So, this movie was released exactly 20 years after the first Fast and the Furious, which proves that unlike Weezer or Elton John, the Fast series is able to actually make money on their new stuff. Ouch.
I'm a big Elton John fan, by the way. I just want to throw it out there. Have you heard any of their new music? Elton John just did something with...
Didn't know there was new music.
Oh, God. Who would... Keep going. Next fact, I'll tell you. Elton John just released a new song.
Okay.
With
somebody. Red Digital Cinema for product placement for their Hydrogen One smartphone, but then Radio Shack, Kodak, and Blockbuster experience happened. They went out of business in 2019. At least they made it 2 more years than Windows did. So they were supposed to be a smartphone promo.
Right. Yeah, they have. I don't actually know if they use. I don't remember what phones they used in this, but apparently this red line cinema or red digital cinema had something called the Hydrogen One smartphone, which I think I remember hearing about this, but I don't remember it at all. And it's probably because it like Blockbuster, it went out of business. Or, well, actually, I don't think they went out of business. They just discontinued the phone. They got out of the phone market, which Windows Phone got out of the market in 2017. They were finally proclaimed dead in the water. So
got it.
That's how it happened. But yeah, Elton John made a new song with Dua Lipa. That's who he did.
What?
Yeah, it came out. They also have some remix that's actually decent-ish with Pnao. I don't actually know how to say it, but I do like them. But yeah, it's like a weird. It's one of those they do almost not a versing, but they combine like one of his old songs with like just Dua Lipa's normal thing. So, and that's what they created.
Got it. Well, that didn't break my brain. Justin Lin hasn't directed since Fast 6. No wonder you could tell such a difference in the last few.
That's the joke. Yeah. I can't tell the difference, I'll be honest. I do like Justin Lin, but I can't. You see, my jokes are hilarious. God, I'm funny. Yeah, Justin Lin, who has directed quite a few of the Fasts. I mean, he directed the early ones, too. He likes the very up-close. His favorite shots are the, like, in-the-car shots and watching people needlessly shift gears.
Downshift.
And it looks real intense. Downshift, right.
Always downshifting.
Right. Makes no sense. But yeah, he loves those shots he does a good job of just making it feel real intense when you're just looking inside of a car and you see the speed lines happening outside the windows, you know? So.
Tyrese Gibson hates The Rock, which most people who hate him would never want to admit it since he wouldn't hesitate to throw you through 3 walls.
Yeah, apparently they don't get along. So Tyrese Gibson literally said that he would not be in this movie if The Rock was going to be.
I thought it was Vin Diesel and The Rock that didn't get along. I didn't realize it was those.
Okay.
Oh, got it.
I don't know if they don't get along all that well, but I think they do okay as far as I know. I don't know though.
Interesting. All right, well, you know, that whatever reason it is explains the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff. This is the longest Fast and the Furious by 8 minutes, making all of us experience 8 more minutes of happiness before return to the real world. I resent this fact. You are trying to tell me that Fast 9 is not the real world. Excuse you. I found that movie extremely realistic.
Everything about it is very realistic.
Yeah.
That's exactly how our world works.
As real world as it gets.
When they go into space, drive a car through a satellite and also end up it happened to be right next to the enemy satellite, drive it through, and then also have the International Space Station pull up on them right immediately after. Pretty realistic. The chances of that, pretty plausible when you think about it.
Very, very high realistic. I'm not reading the next one. It's mean.
Oh, you need to read it.
I'm not reading it. That one's mean.
Read it.
No.
Read it. Read it.
All right.
Because I have a thing after. That's why you need to read it.
Okay, F9, was shot on Super 35mm film. And it has Fast and the Furious has been shot on 35mm film since F6 and Panavision Panaflex cameras since F5. I'm sure anyone who understood that is absolutely not single and is the most highly sought after individual whatsoever because of their superior camera knowledge. Because photographers are cool. Suck it, Joker.
So I know what those are, by the way.
I knew that's what was coming. I knew that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, so 35mm film and Panavision basically just allows for a much bigger aspect ratio, and you can film wider aspect ratio. So it's, you know, that's the sum of it. It's a lot more complicated than that, but yeah, there you go. Single ladies.
You've got pro photographer Joker. All right. He's there. He's available and he can explain all kinds of cool film stuff to you. Paul Walker actually owned a blue Nissan Skyline R34 worth $1.37 million The tree, on the other hand, is only $500 to replace. $500 for a tree? That seems high.
Yeah, it turns out that's about how much it takes to plant a tree.
Like, to plant a tree and then take care of the tree for the 20 years it takes to become a big tree, or like just a tree?
I think just a tree.
That seems overpriced for a tree.
I mean,
I think dig one up and sell it to you.
Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what all the rules are. I just looked up the cost to plant a tree, and it said $500. I also look how much it would cost if you got fined. It can go up to $10,000 if you get fined to replace a tree. So I don't know if you got the joke. There was some real dark humor there, but fine. Don't worry about it.
No, I think I'm following it. But I was also trying to remember at the end if it hit a tree. It did not hit a tree.
No, it didn't. But regardless, let's move on. We're on. Those are the facts. There you go. Now you know more about Fast 9. I don't remember if there was much else to this that I really had. I think all of them are directly related to the actors. If I have any information, which we can get into when we get into the meat.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we got our what you do. What you do, girl?
You want me to give the copy for the product? Read the PR.
No, this was the random filler section that we haven't got the meaty yet. Filler. Remember we were talking about
what I want to say is about the actors in the movie. And Ludacris versus John Cena.
Gotcha. Yeah,
we can save that.
Right. Oh no, I was just saying. It's like, I mean, this is our new section about what are you watching? What are you up to?
Oh, that's right. That's right. What have I been watching? I have been in a drought of things I actually want to watch. I tried to watch Thunder Force, and I made it halfway through and was like, nope, I'm out.
Yep. Sounds about right.
The raw chicken. I couldn't handle it. It was and the crab thing. I tried to watch Outer Banks and I couldn't even make it through the first episode. I was so bored. I have been trying to watch Cursed, which is actually really cool. It's a it's a spin on King Arthur and Merlin and Excalibur and Nimue and like the Lady of the Lake and like basically what happens before. And it's cool, but it's like really gross, so you can't watch it while you're eating. And when I'm eating is usually when I have time to watch stuff. So like I've had that sitting to the side. I tried watching The Crown because I really liked Bridgerton and Downton Abbey, and I can't. It's so miserable. It's so slow. It's so slow and so boring. And I get that Downton Abbey and Bridgerton are slow and boring, but for some reason. So I'm really struggling. The only thing that I've been able to watch is like super, super sappy young teenage girl stuff. So I watched all of the Another Cinderella Story movies. No. I watched like the Selena Gomez, the Lucy Hale, the Hilary Duff Cinderella Story movies. And now I'm watching Vampire Diaries. And like that's where my brain's at right now. Like I can't handle anything else apparently.
You just going old school. I like it. That's all right. Nothing wrong with those. I haven't ever watched Vampire Diaries is something that's like I've been tempted to watch just because I hear they're really good actually. And they're really like but haven't gotten around to it. I got a list. Again, you say you're out of stuff, but you can hit me up. And I've got just lists on lists of things for you to watch. I got stuff. Harley Quinn. Watch Harley Quinn. I'm just going to keep saying Harley Quinn. Go watch it.
I actually remember to watch that one. I gotta.
Yeah. So, wait, hold on. What's Selena Gomez? So, I don't know if you know. I'm a fan of Selena Gomez. So, what Selena Gomez are you watching?
So, it's Another Cinderella Story. And it's whichever one has Selena Gomez in it.
There's a Cinderella Story with the Selena Gomez?
Yes. I think it's called Another Cinderella Story. Yes, it is called. So it's the second one. The first one is A Cinderella Story, and that's Hilary Duff working in a diner, wanting to go to Yale or something. The second one is Selena Gomez, who is the child of a crusty, washed-up pop star's backup dancer. And she is like the live-in full-time maid. And she wants to be a professional dancer. And it's got Jane Lynch and Selena Gomez. And it's great. And the third one is Lucy Hale. And she's from Pretty Little Liars.
Right.
And she wants to be a singer. And in that one, she's back to being a stepdaughter. So the Selena Gomez one departs from the stepdaughter Cinderella setup, but they return to it in the third one.
Where do you watch these? I've actually never heard of this series.
I think they might all be on HBO. They were definitely free. Okay. I did not pay money to watch these.
Okay.
Very much so. They're fun.
Alrighty. Yeah, I get it now. I understand what they mean by a Cinderella story.
Yes.
They've been having a few of those. What was that? Oh, man. I started it, and I never finished it. I started with my now ex. It was... Oh, God. I can't remember what the story... It's not Once Upon a Time. Good show, too, by the way. I guess that show's come to an end. But there was a show that was kind of like that, where it was taking fairy tale stories, but then they were bringing it into modern day. And so they had a whole, like, Three Little Piggies kind of thing where they ended up robbing a bank, or they robbed a store.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds like Once Upon a Time, but not.
It's not. Yes, it's similar to that. It's a little bit more intense, though. These are, like, messed up-ish. I think I think they had, what was it, the first... And it's, like, every season you follow, like, kind of 3 stories or something like that. It's 2 or 3 stories. Where they had I think it was Hansel and Gretel, Three Little Pigs, and Little Red Riding Hood were the 3. And they do a lot of, like, metaphorical stuff in it where they relate the characters by literally having, like, a red sweater or something like that. And the Three Little Pigs, they heisted in pig masks. And so that's how they get you to connect to what fairy tale story it is. So, but yeah, they're intense. Like Hansel and Gretel, I think it ended up being, like, I think someone got murdered or something in it, and so they were trying to hide the body, and so the trail of breadcrumbs is their accidental leaving of their tracks and whatnot. I don't know. They have a few of those, and it's pretty good. I did enjoy it while I watched it, so that's more stuff. I don't know what it was. I don't remember what it's called. I have to look it up. I'll tell you it after. But I personally have been watching. I just started, so I rewatched all of Scrubs again and New Girl because those are my always. Those will always be. Well, I'll always be watching. I convinced Daya. Daya's finally started watching New Girl and he loves it. And he's it's perfect popcorn. He's starting to really enjoy it. So now I'm starting to make a lot of fun jokes with him. But Harley Quinn. Please go watch Harley Quinn for the love of God. Harley Quinn. That's it. Just Harley Quinn. But then the big show that I've started to watch, I guess, is I started catching up with Brooklyn Nine-Nine a little bit here and there, and The Warrior, which is Andrew Koji's show. He's the guy playing Storm Shadow in Snake Eyes. Fantastic! Like, I have now fully decided that Snake Eyes is actually just promotional material for The Warrior. Because why? Okay, let me ask this question to you. Why is Western one of the best genres of movie just of all time?
The music builds drama.
Okay, I guess that's sure. We'll go with that. But I just say this because, like, anytime they ever do a Western twist, like just classic Westerns, fantastic. Time traveling Western, Back to the Future, fantastic.
So good. That's exactly where my mind went.
Yeah, they got Westworld, which is like, I know it's not all Western, but they got like kind of sci-fi futuristic Western, fantastic. Firefly and Serenity is actually just space Western. It's literally them flying in spaceships, but he's still using like a revolver. It shoots lasers, but he's using a revolver.
And he wears a duster.
It's a space Western.
Yeah, he's also got a duster.
Now the Warrior is Kung Fu Western. And it's so good. It's so good. It's to give a brief rundown, it's based on the writings of Bruce Lee. So this was a show that he wanted to get made, but when he took it to a studio, they refused it, and they made Kung Fu instead. And now that they're finally, he's passed away, and no one could beat Bruce Lee, but now they're creating basically what he wrote, this Warrior, and it's really good. Andrew Koji is playing the Bruce Lee-esque character in this, and he's so good at it. He has this really good balance of like paying homage to Bruce Lee, where they have certain choreographs where it's straight out of how Bruce Lee was. His stance and all is very Bruce Lee-esque, but then it's his own kind of fighting style at the same time. And it's Kung Fu Western. It takes place in the 1800s, and it's based on some real history. Some of the characters are literally based on real people. And it's kind of a time in history that's not talked about, where it's about the Chinese-American immigration. And it's talking about kind of that world of some of the tongs and clubs and gangs and stuff of the 1800s in San Francisco, which isn't talked about a lot. So
cool.
It's really people should watch it. So, all right, let's get into the meaty meat.
The meaty meat. All right. So, F9, also known as F9, The Fast Saga, and internationally as Fast and the Furious 9, is a 2021 American action film directed by Justin Lin from a screenplay by Daniel Casey and Lin. It is the sequel to The Fate of the Furious in 2017, is the 9th main installment and the 10th full-length film in the Fast and the Furious franchise. The film stars Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Chris Ludacris Bridges, John Cena, Natalie Emmanuel, Jordana Brewster, Sung Kang, Michael Rooker, Helen Mirren, Kurt Russell, and Charlize Theron. In F9, Dominic Toretto and the team come together to stop a world-shattering plot headed by Toretto's brother, Jake.
I think I spelled Jacob with a K. Just unnecessary.
It does confuse things.
I mean, it's just one of the, I'd be fine. Jacob's spelled with a K, nothing wrong with that. But
doesn't it make more sense than spelled with a C?
I think Jacob with the C makes more sense. Maybe it's just because everyone I've met has a C.
What's the common nickname for Jacob?
I don't think I've ever used a nickname for.
You've never called someone Jake before?
I mean, I've called people Jake, but I don't think their name was Jacob. I don't know now that you say it, but I've never.
What letter is in Jake?
A C.
Yeah.
That's C, Jace, but I don't know. I've never. I've had some friends named Jake, and I've had friends named Jacob, but I've never.
You should ask the friends named Jake.
I don't know if any Jakes were Jacobs, and I've never called any Jacobs Jake. So, and they've all spelled with C. My point is think
it should be spelled with K.
I'd be fine with it if they had it written down in places in the movie, but they don't. It they just clearly put on the K just because why not for the IMDb page, right? I don't. Weird.
That's just how it was written.
Anyways, that's fine. You know what? I won't get into it because I'm sure all Jacobs with a K are wow, this guy. So
yeah. So the basic story, the premise behind the movie is that once again, which again, this might be from a XXX movie, or it might be from an earlier Fast and the Furious movie. I think this is from a XXX movie. Once again, somewhere in a Vin Diesel franchise, software was created that could hack anything. And it's going into outer space, and it can hack anything. And if that wasn't Fast and the Furious 7, that means that was XXX 3. So
there's a few in Fast 7, like in Fast 7 was with Shaw. That was him just trying to get a revenge plot. Yeah, he just wanted revenge on Dom and the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast 8 with Charlize Theron was a little bit. They had God's eye.
Yeah.
You remember that thing where they're like, "Hey, this thing can find literally anyone in the world."
Got it. So
and then it was Fast 9. It's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, the God's eye doesn't work anymore."
Yeah. So it was Triple X. That there is a tech that can hack anything.
Literally anything. Got it.
And
because Charlize Theron can already do that.
Yeah,
that was her whole thing.
Well, but that's what Fast 9, this tech that they're trying to assemble, is that it could control anything or hack anything or
right.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. Now that you mentioned it, I don't think I remember. I was like, what was Fast 9 about?
Yeah. So it was they're trying to assemble. So they had this tech that was made that was super advanced, and they decided it was too powerful for anybody to get their hands on it. And so instead of destroying it, they split it into parts. And the movie is about Dom's long lost brother, who appears out of nowhere, played by John Cena, Jacob with a K, showing up and trying to assemble this tech so that he could basically control the world. You know, because when you can control all of the different missiles and everything, everybody wants to listen to you. And then, you know.
Yeah, you become a world power.
Yeah. And the government doesn't actually, this is what's different, the government doesn't actually ask the Toretto crew to get involved. They're like, yo, Mr. Nobody's cool, let's go! And they have a whole bunch of resources at their disposal, and they have a rocket.
Well, I mean, that was because they were hooking up with the old school crew.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they weren't ever asked. I mean, Mr. Nobody, I think, kind of called for them in his going down message, but that was encrypted so that even the government couldn't crack it. But of course,
the woman who can't
they have
drive
Ramsey who can do it
in the drive-in movie, who then
that's
drives
Natalie
miraculously. Like, the point is.
Right.
Right, it's great.
I like Ramsey's character. So.
I know, she's so funny.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with
I brought in the new... Again, it's funny, but I think... How many people were part of the crew in this one? I'm trying to remember. I mean, that was the whole... That was kind of the whole thing, right? Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6...
I mean, it depends.
7,
like,
8.
Do you count Han? Like, do you count
you count
Jake?
Han. No, you don't. Maybe
Dom,
you count.
Okay,
Jake.
Dom,
no.
Letty, Mia, Roman, Tej, Ramsey,
Han.
So then Han, and then Jacob, Queenie,
maybe-ish.
Mr. Nobody.
Well, not Queenie, but Ellie or what was her name? The woman that Han was protecting.
Oh yeah, I don't think she counts on the crew.
I think she's not part of the crew. I think that was the whole thing.
That's
because this is the whole thing, is that in every Fast movie they have the amount of people that's according to it.
So Jacob must count then, because that would make him the 9th.
That would make it 9.
Yeah,
we'd consider it for that.
Yeah.
So
because he does, family comes through in the end.
family,
and
family.
Jacob abruptly
watches out for each other.
Yeah. Switches sides. Actually, so earlier we were talking about what's going to happen in the next movie. Because here's the deal. Like, we're obviously being silly about this. The point of the Fast and Furious movies is to, like, go big or go home. Like, they're supposed to be ridiculous. They're supposed to be over the top. They're supposed to be impossible.
You don't, let's be honest, you don't go there for a good story anymore. You don't go there. I don't think it's terrible stories. They could be a lot worse. But, like I said, I barely even remember what the plot of this movie is. You are just there for crazy, ridiculous action scenes and
you are there to see what
big explosions and family. That's what you're there for. You're not looking in. Yeah, we'll get into the story loop, but continue.
The Fast movies are basically a resume for a stuntmen and CGI. Like, the Fast movies are just like a giant resume for, like, if you do stunts or if you do CGI. But that's fine. It's great. It's awesome. Like, that's what you go and watch for. But we were talking about what's going to happen in the next one, because in this one, they go into space. They strap a rocket onto a car, and they go into space using a rocket-powered car, all right? So, like, that's pretty over the top. However, Tyrese Gibson Roman, who's, like, the one afraid of everything, magically takes on, like, 40 military people, never gets shot, has bullet holes in his clothing, but isn't bleeding at all. Like, everything happens. And he makes fun of it. He's like, we might be invincible. Like, look at this. There's something else. So the next movies have to be, like, this is going to be our question for the end. Like, what universe crossover do we want to see in the last movie that just brings in all this impossible stuff to, like, make it real that they have some sort of cosmic protection? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I don't know what it. They broke the fourth wall, and I think that was actually something that people hated in this series. Like, for a lot of people, I could tell you, they were like, well, Fast 9 was too much for me. I finally hit my limit. Apparently, driving cars across the ice, racing against a submarine was realistic enough, but this movie's gone too far. And I'm like, man, it went too far, way past. When they were flinging cars between buildings in Dubai, it was already on a level of extreme. Okay? Like, even the safe, the one where they're dragging the safe behind them, I was like, you know why? I know that is plausible, is because that was actually done practically. They actually did that for that stunt. So, you know,
I think,
but yeah, apparently this one was too much. And a lot of the whole poking fun at themselves, like, they were very, very fourth wall-y, where they were like, yeah, we're invincible, we can't die. I mean, I was a little about, like, I think the bullet hole ones was the only one that was maybe a little too much for me, that he did actually get shot. I just assumed it was like, oh, he had a bulletproof vest on.
I mean,
because I assumed that they knew they were going to combat, that they would have bulletproof vests. So I was like, okay, fair enough. He got shot a whole bunch, just nothing that hit him hard enough or hit him in a fleshy part, right? Lucky, yeah, but invincible, no, right?
Except then he had bullet points in his sleeves, or bullet holes in his sleeves, right. And it was just like,
yeah.
What?
And he was wearing bulletproof stuff, so I was like, all right, you could have at least hit it a little bit, but okay, fair enough. I do have to note what happened, because in the, we were talking about Fast 7, in that one where they were fighting. Oh, what was it? Yeah, that one was the one where they were fighting Jason Statham's character. Mm-hmm. There was a whole sequence where Dom and Paul Walker go off to personally take out Jason Statham's character by themselves, because they don't want to bring everyone else in, because they're not murderers, right? They're not killers. So they themselves, him being an FBI agent and Dom beating a man basically to death, is like, we know we have to do this. We're going to kill the guy. And now in this one, they're like, nah, we'll just shoot people. So apparently they were like, nah, these guys, they're too innocent. They don't, they're drivers and they're good at what they do, but they don't kill people. And now they're like, nah, we don't care. There is no continuity in this movie.
It's great.
Whatsoever. It's fine.
I love it. It's great. So what I want to say is so there's two characters in this movie that don't come from traditional acting paths that I know of, right? So, like, Ludacris and John Cena, like, they're famous outside of Hollywood for other things, and now they're in movies, right?
I think John Cena can be.
That's why I said Hollywood. Like, it's still acting, but like Hollywood. So, like, non-traditional path to movies.
Very true.
And John Cena was in Suicide Squad, and he's in another movie that's coming out soon. And he's in all of this stuff. And I don't like his character at all. He played the character he was supposed to play, right? Like, it was fine. But Ludacris was brilliant. Like, honestly, he was one of my favorite characters. And I was just sitting there going, why isn't he in more movies? Series. Like, I need to, like John Cena can do a bunch of stuff. Like, he's cast in roles that make sense for him. And the fact that he's in 3 movies in 2021 is kind of like, go you, like, cool. But, like, where are Ludacris's movies? I want more. Like, that's not what I expected from a rapper.
I think
honestly.
he had a movie that came out recently. I have to look it up real quick. But yeah, I know he had a little bit recently, and this was one thing I guess I wanted to mention was like there's so many actors out there that are just seeing like they're getting their moment in the sunshine, I guess, right? Like we're seeing Tom Holland appear in everything.
Yeah.
A few years ago, it was Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt was in everything. And we're seeing Tom Holland appear in like not only just Spider-Man stuff, but he's doing the new Uncharted. He had that movie like Cherry. He had the Chaos Walking movie that came out. Like Tom Holland's in everything.
Yeah.
John Cena, another person. He's been in Psych. He's been in Suicide Squad, Fast movies. He's also got other movies coming out. He's just in everything these days. Who else was... There was another person that I just watched. Seeing more Idris Elba in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm always down for more Idris Elba. So, it was... Oh, shoot. What's his name? Don't. Let me look up Westworld, because he was in Westworld. Jeffrey Wright. Mm-hmm. Jeffrey Wright, who is... he's playing the new James Gordon in the new Batman movie. He was in Westworld. He is the voice of the Watcher in What If. He's their narrator. And I think I mentioned this last time too. But also he was just in another movie. Was it Free Guy? No, he was just in another movie. I totally spaced on it, but it's fine. So anyways though. So it's just like, yeah, there are these actors that are just appearing in everything, and I think it's good for them. It's awesome. So
I'm spacing on who it was. That I also felt like this movie was Guardians of the Galaxy 2, round 2, because it had obviously Kurt Russell, because he's the ego.
Right.
And then Vin Diesel is Groot. And then one of the women is also in Guardians of the Galaxy. Isn't Charlize Theron like the batteries lady? Or is that something else?
No.
There's somebody else who is in both movies.
Michael Rooker. Talking Michael Rooker. The guy who played Buddy, who is the kind of the guy who is the mechanic in Fast 9.
Sure.
That's who you're talking.
Okay.
Yeah, do you remember his name's Buddy, and Vin Diesel goes to him to try and find out where John Cena is, right? Because he apparently took care of John Cena after. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's in a bunch of things. He was in Suicide Squad. He was Savant. He was the guy, the opening scene of that. But he also plays as Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right, that's who it was. Yes. Because I was, while I was watching it, I was like, is that? And then everyone else was like, no, it's not. And I'm like, no, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, that's who it was. It was like a full, like, I just had all these Guardians flashbacks. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is like, one of my favorites. It might be my favorite Marvel movie. I love that movie. I love that movie. So, it was nice to kind of to see a little cast reunion.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, Michael Rooker, he's someone who's been popping up in a bunch of stuff too. So it's just a few. I mean, I want to know. I'm sure you could find out. I want to know how much money these people get paid to do, because this is literally one of the best-selling franchises of all time. I don't know. I think I've talked about it before, but like, this is not only like in the U.S., like it sells well, very well, but in international, these movies do insanely good internationally. Again, I think some of the Fast movies are still in some of the top grossing movies in China of all time. Like these movies do insane internationally. So I just can't imagine how much money these people make from doing this. So
Vin Diesel reportedly pocketed $20 million up front for F9.
Up front.
What
the fudge? Whoa, okay. Huh. My God. I love Vin Diesel. I know you love Vin Diesel.
Yes. The first Fast and the Furious movie, he got $2 million. And then he also
That's
gets
how much he made from the first Fast movie?
First one, yeah.
that's got to be like after. I'm guessing there was something in his contract that he made money overtime from it or something like that, right? Because I can't imagine like the series wasn't worth that much from the first Fast movie.
But the first movie had like probably a decent budget and it had a really good soundtrack. So, well, okay,
right.
So the question...
no, it was very good. But again, this was back in 2001 we're talking about. So Vin Diesel was still doing very well for himself back then, but $2 million just up, like, I can't imagine they paid him $2 million straight up, you know?
The actor pocketed $2 million. So right. That does sound like after
but like fact. I said, that's probably after the I'm guessing that included all the DVD sales and stuff like that. Like he probably got a portion of it. He had. I can't imagine that they just paid him $2 million. That's an insane rate for a new IP, a brand new movie franchise, right? To just give someone. So, but second movie after that, maybe a little more, but yeah, regardless, still nutty how much money these make. I mean, this again, budget of $200 million, but it made $700 million. That's insane. I mean, even the Suicide Squad hasn't made their money back. They had a $250 million budget, and they've made about $200 million or something like that, right? Like, there's a lot of movies out there that struggle to make their money back and have these giant budgets. And Fast, no problem. It's not even out of theaters yet, and it's still made almost 3 times what they were, 4 times what they paid for it. So
yeah, which is why they're gonna keep on making them, and
they got 2 more.
Yeah, there's 2 more, one more, 2 more, and then Hobbs and Shaw is gonna keep going. So I think Vin Diesel might have been the highest paid actor of 2017. Normally, The Rock is the highest paid actor.
For this movie. Yeah. Rock. I think Rock has more money than pretty much any actor. But again, his is not all from straight acting, right? Rock is absolutely one of the highest paid people in Hollywood. No question about it. So, yeah, I know they're talking about, so I know Hobbs and Shaw might have, they are doing another one, I believe. They're talking about other spin-offs as well. They potentially want to do one with Han, I believe. There was rumors that Han might just get his own spin-off television show or movie series.
That would be cool.
Which again, I think if we saw the after credits, I think that might be the direction that they might go, is that the next Hobbs and Shaw is actually going to be Han and Shaw, is how I see them going. So which I think will be a funny relationship to follow after Shaw apparently killed him. But, you know.
Yeah, I've been Googling this whole time, and all I found is the 20 million for Vin Diesel. I have not found any other numbers for the rest of the actors.
I'm sure it's good. I mean, that's why I was like, hearing the thing about Tyrese Gibson and The Rock having problems in that they won't do the movie if the other one was in it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I cannot imagine. I mean, The Rock don't care, but even like Tyrese Gibson, like, these movies alone have made these people their career. They never have to work a day in their lives. But I can't. It's mind-blowing to me that the amount of money that they must make from just being in these movies, I can't imagine them being like, look, I hate this guy so much that I literally won't take the payday. Like, it's just turning millions of dollars down just because you don't like working with a particular person. So, which I understand. I mean, you are working very closely with them for 9 months, probably more for these ones. I don't know. Still though, it's just mind-boggling. I literally can't imagine how much money these people make from doing these. You know the character I missed? I actually missed Scott Eastwood. I was really hoping to see Scott Eastwood's character. He was the little nobody from the last one.
I don't remember.
He was Kurt Russell's kind of. You don't remember Kurt Russell's kind of protege or whatever? Little nobody is what they called him.
Mm-mm.
He had a whole bit about he was trying to figure out the rules, and then he finds out, he's like, I think I figured it out. Rule number 3. There are no rules, kind of thing. And that's where he breaks open, and then they can drive whatever they want. You remember? Well, that's too bad. So Scott Eastwood is Clint Eastwood's son, and yeah, he was in the last one. He wasn't in this one. I don't know why. So yeah, I might have to go do some research on that.
So I wanted to look a little more because it doesn't make sense that The Rock wasn't in this movie, right? And I don't think that Tyrese.
He said he just wanted to pass.
Yeah. So this is the thing. I don't think Tyrese Gibson is enough of a reason. Like, I think they would cut him and put The Rock in a second. Like, there's a reason that man, he prints money.
Right.
Like Vin Diesel prints money, The Rock, like, really prints money. So you're always going to pick him casting.
Right.
So there was a beef. There was this, like, public feud of dislike or subtle shade between Vin Diesel and The Rock. And
okay.
So I just read a little bit about it, and I guess, like, Vin Diesel did a little bit of an interview, and it's still a little bit of, like, hearsay type thing. But Vin Diesel's take on it was he's a producer, and he had to help execute the vision of the movie, and he said that he was very hard on the Hobbs character to make sure it came out exactly the way that it needed to. And so I think that and then, like, The Rock said that they have fundamental differences in how they approach movie making.
Of course.
So my guess is they refuse to work together, but have good PR teams.
Probably it's the Vin Diesel kind of thing. So, well, if Vin Diesel and Tyrese Gibson don't like the guy, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, they, I guess he's getting his own, right? He's just the Vin Diesel of Hobbs and Shaw now. So he's getting his own sequence in this franchise.
Hey, I'm fine with that. You know, The Rock's got a helicopter on a chain while he's standing on a car, and he's strong enough to just pull a helicopter down. Why would we want more of that?
Yeah, he wanted his Captain America moment. I love it.
Oh, gosh. But yeah, overall, I mean,
I legitimately believe The Rock could do that, though. I'm not gonna lie. I legitimately believe The Rock could actually do that. I'm not.
We need Mythbusters. All right, that's what we need.
Yeah, I wanted to strap it. I don't think those guys are. No offense to them, but I don't think they're strong enough to pull a helicopter.
No, they're not, but they could do, like, the math and the science of how strong you would have to be, and then take a look at, like, the Rock and his lifting and his numbers and stuff, and be like, would this be possible? Right. I think that'd be super cool.
Probably not, but I still, in my heart, I believe he can.
Like I said, the Fast and the Furious movies are super realistic. It's the real world. It's not an escape at all. Yeah. And Hobbs and Shaw is an extension of that. That's why it's the greatest media ever created, because the Fast and the Furious movies are just, another dose of real life for us to see how epic and awesome it is. You too can rocket into space with a car that you strap a rocket engine to.
Strap a giant rocket onto.
Yep.
Ugh.
Can. All right.
So what did you overall like? Yeah, I guess we can start wrapping up. I feel we talked about. I mean, what else can we say? It's the Fast movies. You either love them or you just think they're too ridiculous and you can't get behind them, which I think is crazy. I'm sorry, but like movies that literally are just about fast cars and explosions, sometimes you need those. Okay?
Yeah.
There are plenty of amazing content like Harley Quinn and the Warrior that you can go watch. I think TV has some of the best writing these days right now.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of other things that you can watch. Sometimes you need those Pacific Rims, those Godzillas, those fast movies in there to just watch. Hey, I either want to watch big robots fight giant monsters or giant monsters fight giant monsters or fast cars, hot chicks, and family.
Family.
Sometimes you just need that.
Yeah, that's the important one.
So, family, right? And I think that's what the Fast series is at this point. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, they are not good movies. They're fantastic movies for the right reasons. If you're going in being like, this is a bad movie, you're not watching for the right reasons. So, I mean, this was what I expected, and I loved every single second. How are you feeling?
It outdid my expectations. it like
really outdid your expectations.
Yes.
What were you expecting? They went to space.
That's what I'm saying.
What were you expecting?
Further than my expectations. Like, I didn't expect them to go to space.
Okay.
The other thing is, so Dover likes to say that I hate Marvel movies. And so here's my issue. I dislike Avengers movies because too much happens. There's too many cameos. You're not attached to anything. And there's like no feeling when you go through the movie. It's just this like machine gun stuff. Now, Fast 9 was kind of the same machine gun stuff. Like, there's a lot of things that happens.
Oh, yeah.
But the difference is that they're not trying to be holier than thou, super serious, extremely epic, continuous, like, super story. They're like, haha, we blow shit up and go to space. So it was super cool because
you shot a car with a bridge.
Yeah. So you could just kind of like disengage your mind and just watch like the different heist elements. And like when he shows up to that party and there's all the women dancing outside and he goes in and then Interpol comes and gets him and it turns out that Interpol were the women dancing outside. He had that all worked out ahead of time. That was like a whole movie right there. Like that was an entire Italian job that just happened in 30 seconds. And you're like, when did that happen? I don't care. And it was just like a different vibe. And I love that because I don't mind when things are over the top. I mind when they're over the top and the vibe doesn't match it. And I thought they did an amazing job with like you.
Is that why you didn't like Suicide Squad?
It was so stupid. Sorry. Last episode, it was the greatest piece of media ever created. This episode, it's not anymore.
Well, we can talk about it however we want.
Because now it's Fast and Furious. No, because Suicide Squad didn't take themselves seriously either. It was just different. It was not my cup of tea. And that's fine. Lots of people can like it, and that's great for them. But, like, this one, there was a lot that happened, and there was a lot of rapid plot shifts. But they were simple rapid plot shifts. Like, it wasn't this super complicated, wait, Han's not dead? Like, let's make up an entire movie work of backstory. Nah, Mr. Nobody's tricky and, like, Han's magically standing next to him watching the car explode. Cool. Great. Got it. Let's move on to the next thing. Oh, look, like, Jacob's not evil anymore because the trust fund dictator baby, like, doesn't like him. He's magically on Vin Diesel's side. Okay, cool. Like, every single rapid plot shift had, like, a one-sentence explanation, and they left it to the one-sentence explanation and just got back to blowing stuff up. And I appreciated that. I thought it was great.
It knows exactly what it is.
Yeah. All right, so I'm rating it. I'm not rating it the 5,000 cows or the 15,000 children. This is a 33.91 trillion rating from me.
Whoa, that's the biggest rating you've given yet.
That's my rating.
33.91 trillion. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big rating.
Yep. That's how
I give it a 9.
9. That's good. Very symbolic.
Family.
9 family.
That's my rating. 9 out of family.
9 out of family. Excellent.
Yeah.
By the way, there's
I don't know. I'm always supposed to come up with a question, and I decided to stop writing the question down to come up.
I have.
Oh, you have a question?
I have the question. Posed this earlier in the podcast. This is my question. In order for them to take it to the next level in the next movie, because we did space, what world crossover, what universe franchise crossover do we have to see? Like, what would be the ultimate combination for the final Fast experience, right? Like, are we bringing...
I think we mentioned it a little bit. Back to the Future.
Right? Okay. Back to the Future. Doc Brown
crossover
is going to show up.
I don't know how they explain their invincibility, but
No. I've got it. Okay. They're going to go back into space. So in order to do the Back to the Future thing, they have to take a DeLorean into space. While they're in space, they're going to get hit by some kind of ray or whatever.
Oh.
Kind of like the Fantastic Four. So it's going to be a Fantastic Four, Back to the Future, Fast and the Furious, triple crossover.
And this is how Marvel starts the Fantastic Four series. It turns out Dom is the Thing, and Tyrese Gibson is the Human Torch. We got Michelle Rodriguez as Invisible Woman. I'm in. I'm aboard this.
And then they reboot it all with, you know, the new Fantastic Four. And we're set for the next round.
I'm on board. I'm okay with this one. I'm going with Back to the Future meets Lost. It turns out that they were dead all along.
Wow. That could work. That explains invincibility.
Right. Exactly. They're just like in purgatory. Purgatory of super badass spies and driving hot cars.
Lucifer. It's one of Lucifer's...
They're all Lucifer?
No, it's one of Lucifer's, like, worlds.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh,
that he created so he can watch.
One of the hells.
Yes, it's one of the hells that he just made so that he can hang out in it.
I get it. It makes sense because no matter how many times they help out the U.S. government, they still need to help out the U.S. government more. They can't get away.
Exactly.
It's a hell loop. Yes. I get it now.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Perfect. Alrighty. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this episode. So, you know, if you haven't, well, that's Nessa's job. I'll let her talk about social medias.
Yeah. So if you made it through the whole episode, thanks. We appreciate you. Wherever you're listening, if you are not here for the live taping and you're, you know, hanging out later on, make sure to leave a review. Give us that 17 trillion out of 5 stars. Super appreciate it. Comments, likes, shares. Let other people know. You got a long drive to work. You know, there's lots of rambling that you can listen to. We're here every week to keep you entertained. If you are looking, say you're watching us on Twitch or you catch this on YouTube or you're on Podbean and you're like, man, I don't have those things on my phone. That's obnoxious to listen to in the car. That's not going to get me hyped up for my run. Well, guess what? Positively Reviewed Podcast. Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Podbean, but also YouTube, and then, of course, live taped on Twitch. Those are all places you're going to find it. The social media is Pos Reviewed Pod, POS Reviewed POD, as well, to keep up to date with what's going on. Those are all of the places and all of the sellout that I have for you.
I think that's it. What do we got? We got planned. I think we're actually going to be talking about a video game next week, is the plan here. We're gonna be doing Splitgate, right?
Yes. Yeah. Gonna go back to the video game world.
We're gonna attempt that. Hopefully, this one goes maybe a slightly better than. Still, we don't talk about Outriders. Episode. Solid time. Other than that, you guys have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next week.